If you've been enjoying our podcast as much as we have and hope that we continue past 50 episodes, here's your chance. Here's your chance to help make that happen. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, not only will you help the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary podcast to live on, but you'll also get exclusive content just for you.
Here's what's in store for you. Join monthly Q&A sessions where you can ask us about anything. Whether it's about our work, personal interests, or advice on your own projects, we're here to connect and share.
Enjoy unique content created specifically for Patreon subscribers, including bonus segments from our shows.
You'll have a say in what we create, and you'll have a voice in future content.
Benefit from exclusive discounts on merchandise and entries into special giveaways. It's our way of saying thank you for your support.
Receive personalized shout-outs in videos, podcasts, or social media posts.
Because your support on Patreon allows us to dedicate more resources to creating the content that you love.
You could join the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast community on Patreon and become a Prairie patron for just $5 a month. We thank you so much for your continued support, and we cannot wait to share our ongoing journey with you on Patreon.
We are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSimiValley.com and the city of Simi Valley's belief in Little House on the Prairie and their support of the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Discover the charm of Simi Valley, California, the home of the prairie. Visit Simi Valley, where adventure meets history and the spirit of the prairie comes alive. Explore the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, step aboard Air Force One, enjoy stunning hikes and savor delicious local cuisine. Whether you're here for a weekend getaway or a family vacation, Simi Valley offers something for everyone and is only 30 minutes from Los Angeles. Plan your visit today and experience the best of Simi Valley. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more details. Your adventure awaits in Simi Valley.
Hello, bonnet heads. How are you? I'm Pamela Bob. I'm your host, creator of Living on a Prairie. And yes, I'm here as always as our beloved Prairie Bitch or Biatch, whichever one you are more comfortable saying. That's right, Miss Alison Arngrim is here with us today, as always. And also, as always, our hashtag imaginary boyfriend. That's right, it's Dean Butler. Hi, you guys.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. It's a little bit of a warm day today. I mean, warm being not freezing here, cold. So yeah. I decided let's hurry up spring already. That I'm good. Alison, you are in France.
Still in France.
I am in France, and it's cold. And is it raining? Oh, it stopped raining. It's been a bit rainy, and it's quite chilly. It's not terrible, but at night, and I've been traveling out into the middle of nowhere, sometimes in the mountains, and it's like, oh, it's not so bad. Oh, it's 30 degrees. Whoa, wow. Okay. So yeah, I've been sweater weathering it here. So
what
I'm
a weather. Yeah.
Nice indoors and warm and toasty.
Well,
I'm happy about
it's certainly
that.
been that way in Southern California too. It was 40 when I took the pup out for a walk this morning. For Southern California, chilly. It was like 46 degrees this morning, which is, shirt sleeve weather in New York.
It is. I mean, really, it hit 45 degrees for the first time last week.
High?
And it was like people were out in shorts, like people were out skipping and jumping. It was like the birds were even chirping. Wow. It was like this is so classic New York City, like because winter is so hard here. That the second it goes above 40 degrees, you're like, oh, spring is coming,
is there any
finally.
green yet?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I remember from my years ago, living and working in New York, that first pop of green in the springtime.
Oh, it's like a miracle.
Is just incredible.
It's like a miracle. Yes, God is real. It happens in New York City around mid-April.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah. So you've got another month to go.
Well, March is such a tease because you're like, yes, it's March, we're here, and it's not. It's just it's a tease. But we are going to get a nice week this week.
Yeah.
So
So Alison
Let's
is
let's live it up.
Alison's in the cold and rain of
Cold.
Paris.
Brr.
I told you last year in April, we went to visit Hal's family in England. They're in Derbyshire, they're northern England.
Oh,
And it was just finally warm in New York City. Like spring had finally sprung. We finally put our winter coats away. Like it was glorious. And then we went out there and it was 30 degrees and gray and raining the entire time. And I was so mad the entire time we were there.
Home to New York.
I was angry. I was angry. I was not fun that week. Okay. Anyway, and does anyone I have in my notes here, Dean, that you have something fun to announce.
Yeah.
Is
So
there something fun to announce?
Coming on the heels of my writing debut with Prairie Man, My Little House Life and Beyond.
Yes.
The publishers bought a second book from me.
No,
Yeah.
Dean.
Yeah. So the publishers bought a second book, and this last weekend, or actually by the time this drops, like 2 weeks ago, I sat down for the first time at 5 a.m. That's my ritual. 5 a.m, cracked the file, had my outline on the table, and started that process.
What's the second book going to be?
I
Do you even
know?
know?
What?
The working well, it's more than the working title. There's a part of me that's a little concerned about using the title
Saying
now just because
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Like snag it and suddenly
Yeah. Don't say it.
Okay,
Don't
so
say
come
it.
on.
Don't say it.
Yeah, but I think
What's it about,
it's
though?
not so much a memoir as an examination of, well, we're going to be talking about things in the context of, it's a values-based project, looking at it through the lens of Little House, which is why these conversations that we're having are so important, and comparing the lens of Little House to the world we're living in today.
Dean.
I think it's going to be a really interesting journey to write this, and I think it's going to be fun. And my first draft is due in early September, and so September of 26 out on the shelf in time for the holiday season is the plan.
That's quick.
Yeah.
That's really fast. Wait, so have you started?
Yes.
I mean, do you have pages?
Yeah, no,
Oh my God!
yeah,
yes.
no, I definitely have started, but it's it's literally, I'm 2 pages into the 85,000 words that have got to be in the final draft.
But did you know what the did they pitch this concept
No,
to
I
you,
pitched
to
it.
you,
So
or
I
did you
pitched
know?
it to them. I pitched it to them about 2 months after Prairie Man came out.
Oh, okay.
And I anecdotally pitched it. I just said, this is what I'm thinking. I mean, if you're interested, this is what I'm thinking. And I laid it out for them. And they said, sorry, as I bang my music stand, my editor said, that's a really cool idea. I love the idea of that. Write it up and send it to us in December, once we've had a chance for 6 months to see what your book is doing.
Yeah.
Send it to us in December, which I did. And they got back right away, as they did the first time, and said, yeah, let's talk about this. And so
Holy
so we did.
moly.
Yeah.
This is huge.
Yeah.
This is huge. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're going to be a busy
Yeah,
guy.
No, it's going to be a very busy 6 months. Yeah, it's going to be, I think, Catherine has been, when we first got together, I
bracing for what he's
wasn't
about to
looking
say.
anywhere near as consistently hard focused as I've been in the last, starting with the Faraday experience in 2011. It's been pretty full on, constant. Something's going on. And I'm so grateful at 68 that I am, I'm not anywhere near ready to shut this thing down. I just
you're
don't
not done.
have no interest in that. I want to keep going. So I'm excited by this opportunity to express myself again. And I'm so grateful for the way people have embraced the first round of this first piece of this journey, and Alison and Melissa writing the foreword for it. And, all of that has been really, really great. So, more to come. It's going to be fun.
Thrilling.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
You are an inspiration. You are an inspiration. I'm like, I gotta get back to man's writing the second book. I'm being put to shame here.
I know. I was going to say, any thoughts about a second book for you, Alison?
You could. Oh my God!
You could.
You could write a book if you decide. If you just make the decision, you would deliver an amazing second book. I mean, your first book has been selling like hotcakes.
It's still selling.
Yeah, your book is incredible.
What, for 14 years?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like when we knew, 50th anniversary is getting big. So we worked ourselves into a lather, and then I said, well, things will probably slow down, next year. Ha, 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 ha. Here I am in France. Yeah. Things have not slowed down.
No.
I got like a 10-city stand-up tour, and we're doing all this. And now
I know you're going to such cool cities this year.
This whole thing of doing more events. Yeah, it's nuts. We're just going to keep doing this.
We are very bullish on where all this is going, Pamela. I mean, I think, obviously Alison is doing globally, traveling and doing what she's doing. We have the possibility of doing some international events with Prairie Legacy Productions. Yeah. And we're just going to stay busy. We are all going to stay busy with this because I think there's an appetite for it. And we're going to test that appetite.
Yeah. It's just the beginning.
So I think this is let's so exciting. Get into this episode that we're going to talk about.
All right. Okay. Well, first, let me just say that from the studios. Let's get this right. Dear God, I'm so excited about the book. I can't even think straight. From the studios.
Talk about today.
Me too. Yeah. Woo, you guys, this is going to be a doozy. I don't know. This might be like a 3-hour conversation today. Anyway, from the studios of UVN Go in Burbank, California, this is the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary Podcast, Season 2 recap. Get ready for this one. Evil. All right, we are back. Dean, do us the great honor of telling us what episode we are recapping today. Okay. I know, got to take a deep breath before this one.
So today we are talking about episode 19 of season 3, The Music Box.
Bum, bum, bum.
The Music Box premiered on March 14th. Wow, I mean, it's like just almost, so 1970. Oh, and here I didn't, was it 77? 77. Yeah.
It must have been 77. Yeah.
Yes,
this amazing episode was written by Robert Jones, directed by Michael Landon, featuring a wonderfully affecting performance by Katy Kurtzman, who Alison's going to talk about.
So good.
We wanted to get Katy to come here. We just couldn't get her today. This is absolutely one of Alison's most despicable turns.
Peak.
As Nellie
Peak
Olsen.
evil.
I mean, it is off the charts cruel. It's unbelievable.
This is the one that you even said you hated yourself in this episode, right?
I refer to this as the episode where even I hate me.
Yeah.
Because it's that bad. And I think third season, I've always said third season was when things started to happen. I feel like I really hit my stride in season 3.
Let's give us a synopsis of what this episode is.
Synopsis.
Yeah, give us
You can riff on that any way you want to, please.
But
as you do.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Nellie forms a club
Horrible.
and names herself as its snobby, judgmental, abjectly cruel president. But of course, why
horrible
unless I am president? The centerpiece of the episode is a beautiful music box. Laura, who's disappointed by the Webster's dictionary she's given for her birthday, succumbs to temptation, takes it. Well, more than that, because she came to the meeting And I'm so heinous at the meeting and mean to her friend that she says, to hell with this. And I don't care about the music box. She's like, screw this. It takes the music box because I'm horrible. That's why she takes it, because I'm evil. Okay. But the guilt of her actions, this is true, weighs so heavily on her, leads to a series of events and wonderfully over the top nightmares. Night is all dream sequences and stuff. So it has more dream sequences.
It does.
Where she
I want to hear all about it.
Honesty, forgiveness, and the importance of standing up for what is right. Yes, yes.
Okay, there's just so much to say about this episode. I just also want to say my 6-year-old daughter, Margot, has seen this episode before, but when I was recapping it, she was also watching it. And I will say, when Laura takes her music box, Margot just went, I would do the same thing. And I went, hells yeah, you would. I would too. She deserved it. Great parenting on my part.
Yeah, good job.
I was like, yeah, you steal that mailbox. I mean,
music
not
box.
mailbox.
Yeah.
Music box.
Music box. Yeah.
Anyway, where do we even begin? Where do we start with this episode?
Well, I mean, the thing is, this also has, which hardly in synopsis is, we talked about the bullying. We just, we're talking about the lovely, poor, beautiful,
yes,
but
last
unable.
episode.
This is about tormenting people with physical disability. That was a thing that Nellie did. I mean, there was poor Olga, a leg shorter than another, especially.
Right.
Laura has a new friend, Anna, who stutters, has a stammer.
Yeah.
And I do things to this girl that are just, people should go to jail.
Yes,
and
horrible.
it's that bad. And it's like legal, like the family nowadays, the family would like to be a lawsuit because of the extremity of the bullying level we're talking. And here's why this is so horrible. So this poor girl, Katy Kurtzman, a brilliant actress who just actually stutter in real life.
So
I mean, he's that good.
She was so good in this episode. She was stupid good. And might I add, my favorite friend of Laura in the whole thing that Laura's ever had, and also we never
sobbing, stuttering, the crying,
Right.
brilliant actress. I mean, so to the point, this is one of those ones where people would call, does she really stutter? Did the girl really stutter? And it's like, no, she's Katy Kurtzman. She was on Hotel.
No, and those big eyes that would just well up.
She was that good. And it's famously, I tell her there's a password to the club. Okay, I mean, I start before, but initially I don't want her in the club. I say she can't play with us, she can't be in the club because a horse can walk and a butterfly can flutter, but Anna can't talk. All she can do is stutter.
What a horrible thing. Yeah. Oh my God. Well,
and that's
goodness, your father was standing there and jumped on you like, wow.
Nels is like, what are you doing? Nels is like, we're not having this. So then I form a club and I say, oh, she can be in the club. And Laura's like, oh, because poor Laura keeps hoping against all hope that I've somehow changed. And of course, it is only an opportunity to drag the girl in front of a whole room full of her schoolmates and torment her by saying, you'll be in the club, but I have a password. Now, a password is 1 or 2 words. A password is like, watermelon. A password is a word. The password, I announce, is Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
You evil bitch.
A frickin' password. It's not a password. That's a stick. And I make this girl say this. And bad enough that she's going to Peter. And Laura's doing the right thing. The music is swelling. And Laura's going, you can do it. Anna, just
take your time.
She's been helping her. She says, take your time. Talk slowly. It's okay. And I say, I can't hear you. Say it faster. I can't even say it's that bad. And this is the scene that's just like stomach churning. And
you mean while you were doing it, you were like,
and that's the thing, when you watch it, it's like people are horrified.
It's horrible. Yes.
And Katy Kurtzman, again, because Katy Kurtzman is brilliant, she is not like the tears, it's just water are pouring down her face, and she is shaking and sobbing and like having a physical body reaction and going pale and turning red in the face and being Peter Piper, and I'm screaming at her in her face. Say,
because it's in front of all the other kids. It's just so cruel.
Yeah. And some of them are afraid. They're not even like, it's not even like they're joining in the bullying. They're horrified, but they're now at this point afraid of me because I'm that crazy.
Yeah, they're afraid of you.
They're just, because what will I do to them? Because I've clearly lost it.
Right.
What's killing me is not only while I'm doing this, I'm going, wow, this is bad. This is really bad. And so, ooh, and like I said, this is the year I hit my stride. This was the year of Bunny in the Race and all the, going down.
Yeah, this was a peak year. You're right.
This is when Nellie went from, she's kind of bitchy and annoying to, oh my God, is she a psychotic person? Because she's like physically dangerous, possibly. And I just started doing like insane things that were like actually dangerous to people. It's like, wow. So this is part of that. And so I'm doing this. And of course, I'm like, this is my gig. I come in and do the worst thing that a person could possibly do. This is my job. What is the worst thing I can do right now? This. So that's the deal. I always, the mouse is here. I mentioned the mouse. No, I didn't see a mouse. I saw the mouse. Elle est là. Mickey est là. Bruno, Mickey est là.
Oh, you're calling Bruno to come get the mouse?
Yes, yes, because.
But I mean, the mouse just walked out.
Cutest could be about this big. Cutest could be just ran right across from it's under the coffee table.
Oh, it's clearly not afraid of humans.
I'm not afraid of mice. It's a darling. It's a pet mouse. It's a pet mouse. It's not a wild mouse. Has no disease. It's a pet mouse. Cutest could be, but it's
and it gets fed, so he knows there's an advantage to coming out. Anyway,
so I'm terrorizing this girl, and I would when I had to go over my lines as a young girl. I would go. What, as you would say, an intention or a line reading, you don't go, if I do it this way, that's pretty bad. Well, this way. What if I tried that way? And when I got to the one that was like fingernails on a blackboard and made me want to punch myself in the face, I went, yeah, that's the one. I would go, that's terrible. Yeah, check. And
I was going to say, what's so interesting about, one of the things that's interesting about this performance, because you as horrendously cruel as you were in this, and you really were. Yes, I mean, you played wonderfully cruel in this. Somehow, Nellie is redeemable. And somehow she is redeemed. And because I think back to the first episode. I think back to the very first episode, Harvest of Friends. Liam O'Neill, who was so cruel to Pa taking his oxen. This was so cruel, he was unredeemable. I have no idea if there was a plan to ever have this character back, but there was no way you could ever have him back because he was so terrible to Charles Ingalls. You have been cruel to people, so lists of people you've been cruel to as this character, and you still keep coming back. And I think I think, Alison, I think it's really a tribute to the fact, or a tribute to your ability to play horrendous cruelty and still somehow people see the joke.
There was a sort of, I think, and maybe this came out in the performance, and maybe this is why people dug it, that Nellie she is lashing out. Anyone who is this awful, it usually is that something terrible has happened to them. Right. They're unhappy about something. And I think this came out that, like, this girl has issues that I do. And the thing was,
what were your issues?
I'll tell you. And here's the secret issue, which was, they talk about a backstory. So I'm standing there, and why my stomach was starting to go, Kurt. When I was a little girl, actually I wasn't a little girl at Gardner Elementary School, I had a speech impediment.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I had to go to speech class after school with the people who stuttered and stammered. That's my friends.
What was your?
It was adorable. I was apparently I was Cindy Brady. I could not say the letter F. Oh. I could not say the letter F to save my life. My name was Alison. I said, and it was cute. It was really cute. Yeah, little tiny blonde girl, little tiny girl, but my parents were no. And the school was like, and we have a program for that. And so after school, a couple days a week, this very nice older lady and I swear this is not a joke. The other girl who went with me at my time period, she was so cool. I really liked her. And I swear to God, for the first couple of weeks, I thought her name was Wanda. I'm not kidding. Yes, her name was Rhonda. She could not say the letter R. And I could not say. I'm sure she says my name. She says, yeah, I hung out in class with a girl named Alison. And so Alison and Wanda were in class together until we discovered we could say Alison and Rhonda, which happened fairly quickly. We were very good at this. The woman worked with us. And it was really dumb. It was like she said, wait, where the heck are you putting your tongue on your teeth to do that? And going, she's like, no, it goes down here. And I went, wait, oh, it's down here. Yes, it's down there. And I'm like, why didn't anyone tell me these things? And I was fixed, and I can clearly say the letter. I can say she sells seashells, and I can, and then I can say the th is here, is here. I now can do that, but I could not as a child. I had a speech impediment, and so I was with 3 people who could not say certain words or letters, and who stuttered and who stammered. That's who I was sitting with. So I'm really not going to be tormenting a stuttering girl and making her sit but that's not going to happen, right? No. So this girl's sobbing about not being able to say Peter Piper picked a peck, and I'm mocking her and all that. I'm going, yeah, this is not pleasant. This is extraordinarily unpleasant. Yes.
Well, what was interesting is that what we see in the episode, I mean, I think there are a couple of things that are important. What we see in the episode is that when Anna is with Laura, she speaks just fine. She's able to articulate.
She's calm.
She's calm. She feels safe. She feels accepted.
Yeah.
It's when what we see with so many situations like that, when someone feels like they're being judged or under pressure, or suddenly something happens. And I think there's so many people who can relate to that.
Do you know that many stutterers don't stutter when they sing?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mel Tillis. Mel Tillis.
That and James Earl Jones had a horrific stutter growing up, and it was with the acting. He would be able to do Shakespeare and not stutter at all.
Many people went into theater because the theater training helped them overcome a stammer or stutter. Many stutterers take up singing because for some reason it's a different part of the brain. They don't stutter when they sing. Also, people who were left-handed as children, and back in the old days when they used to force people to write with the right hand, if you're left-handed, apparently you can develop a stammer or stutter from being forced to write with the wrong hand.
Oh, wow.
Brain synapses, things wired.
Yes. You know,
so it's a very serious
either of you
thing.
seen The King's Speech?
Yes.
I love
Brilliant.
that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. But when he puts on the headphones and he's able to recite the Shakespeare, and there's no affectation at all. He just says it perfectly, and it was an emotional thing for him. It was not an inability to speak. It was an emotional.
It's anxiety and emotions, and like I said, literally wiring. Because they said back in the day, kids, if they're from made to where they would start to stammer. It's like unbelievable. So I knew a lot of this stuff. I've got a speech impediment,
and you were still horrible to her.
And I'm still tormenting this girl, but that's why I was doing going, whoa, this is very unpleasant because people did this to me. Oh my God. So I'm creeped out. I'm creeping myself out, which is why I knew I was doing it right. See, that was the thing. When I practiced at home, I went, how can I do this that would have reduced me to tears when I was a child? How can I do this so horribly that I am offended? And I went there. So that's how I did it.
I think it was the cold-blooded smile.
It's the smile
there, that there's just it's a taunting smile, knowing that you're going to anything you ask of her is going to ruin her, and there is this sadistic pleasure in that we see in you that's really astonishing. And it's
now this whole episode gets about sadism because then it gets more sadistic. And someone in the New York Times actually wrote an article some years ago that Laura and Nellie, that was bordering on a sadomasochistic relationship in this episode because it's that far gone. It's that far over the top.
This is the first time where I watched this. I mean, I've seen this episode a million times, but as I was watching this episode, it occurred to me because I just listened to a podcast this week about psychopaths, and this podcast interview was interviewing a psychopath. Now, some people think that psychopaths are all murderers and Jeffrey Dahmer and all. You know, they're not. They could be your neighbor. They could be your friend. They could be your whatever. So, and then I was like, oh my God, she is without a doubt 100% a psychopath.
So
So, and then
define
I wanted
that.
to
Define.
Google.
Can you just
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So here we go. There's sociopaths and psychopaths. So I have it all written down. Here we go. This really inspired me. And I was like, that's it. I figured out Nellie.
Thank you.
Sociopaths and psychopaths both display challenging behaviors, but differ significantly. Sociopaths tend to be impulsive and struggle to form stable relationships due to their volatile nature, while psychopaths, known for their manipulative tendencies, pose dangers due to a profound lack of empathy and remorse.
I agree with what you're talking about.
Both are under the antisocial personality disorder.
I have no
So
idea what you're
you
talking
are,
about.
although Nellie has sociopath traits,
Yes.
she is hands down a psychopath.
Of the
And
two,
the
that's
interesting
more
thing,
dangerous one. It would,
I mean,
yeah.
I would think so. And then also in this interview, this girl, I mean, she was like a 20-year-old girl who is a clinically diagnosed sociopath, but she was talking about how you can have one special like unicorn person in your life that you actually do care for, that you actually do have empathy for. And I was like, Percival, that's it. Like, that was the person, right? Because I was like, I was watching this going, man, oh man, with the horrific parenting that this girl is getting, the horrible lessons that she is learning, the total psychopathic tendencies, the antisocial personality disorder, all of those traits, like finding your husband ain't going to cure all of those things. But if it's the one person that you do feel empathy for, that I can buy into. But it really does explain so much of who Nellie is. I mean, she's a psychopath, right?
I don't recommend dumping eggs over someone's head. However, Percival's reaction, because he set a boundary, because most people did one of two things. They went along with Nellie's crap and like her parents.
Because they had to.
Or they just ran away. Percival didn't run away. And he said, no, you're not doing this. This is ridiculous. Dump the eggs over her head, knock it off. But then he said, and as pretty as you are, you don't need to rest or catch a man.
Right.
And this so fried her wiring that someone put his foot down and had a boundary. And yet, so yeah, absolutely, there was a psychopathic streak. And then she turns on Laura because she's not done. She's tormented the girl. But now Laura, who is so destroyed watching this, seeing her friend destroyed, so destroyed that she feels helpless. She wasn't able to, totally powerless. She couldn't stop Nellie from doing this, and she's been protecting this girl, and she couldn't protect her. Nellie's just done this in front of her, so it's just like a nightmare.
Well, yeah, and what leads to that, of course, is the stealing of the music box, which is triggered by this little early thing where Pa gives her a dictionary, a Webster's dictionary.
Right. So let's take it back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. Let's take it back to the beginning. Okay. So it's Laura's birthday, which have we ever celebrated her birthday ever again? I don't know. It's Laura's birthday. Also, it's perpetual summer on this show. So who knows what month it actually is.
Laura's birthday is February.
Laura's birthday is actually in February. The show premiered in November, but we're not really ever.
No, it's perpetual summer, spring in Walnut Grove.
Really but anyway, vague about her age too. But there you go. So,
and she gets the gift that all children want, a dictionary. I mean, fail, right? I mean, I know it's the 1800s. I know the dictionary was like equivalent to getting the internet at that point. I get it. But Ma and Pa,
I love the way Ma described that. Laura needs to appreciate the things that she needs.
Correct.
Which is a wonderful
that goes over well.
line.
You're 12.
Yeah, but Laura at that point
really and she will appreciate. Yeah. I mean, I remember one time I got for Hanukkah a coin purse. I was like 6 and going, this is a fail. This is a fail of epic proportions. I can't play with this. I don't even have coins to put in it. It was just like the most random, weird present that, and when you're a kid, you don't want a dictionary. You don't.
As a little boy, you get a shirt. You don't want a shirt.
Yeah, and what's so funny is that even the beginning of this episode, the very first thing we see is the pan of the window of the Olsen's Mercantile of all the dolls and the toys. And my 6-year-old daughter was going, "What's that?" I mean, she even got excited by seeing what these things. Yeah, and then to get a big old dictionary. Fail.
Okay, so that sets that puts in motion Laura's
Right. So then she's at the
urge.
party.
Right.
This girl she's been protecting, she can't protect her. I destroy her in front. She can do. And what do? I'm showing off my music box and I toss it on the bed like it's
Garbage. Yeah. Yep.
And she just goes.
So that's
takes
step number one. No, but then you're mean to Anna. And that was the trigger of taking this freaking thing.
Emotionally destroying this girl, and then I throw it away. So Laura's like, okay, I've been totally shattered watching this happen, and she just threw away the thing I wanted for my Jesus. So she says she's not going to miss it. To hell with it. I'm taking this music box.
Which is why Margot yelled, "I would have taken it too!" at that moment.
I catch her.
Yes.
I find out she took her, and then I'm like, this is winning the lottery. This is winning. This is the evil person's winning the lottery.
Well, I really enjoyed Laura going up. She put the music box up in the barn. She's hiding it up there. She's the little dance, and she hears the door open, and she freaks out, and she hangs upside down, which is a classic, such a little kid thing to do too. And it's just the wind opening and closing, and then the music box breaks.
Yeah, and so I didn't get. Funny, I missed where it broke. Did she?
In her like fear, in her getting, when she came back up, she sort of accidentally swiped it off of like the ledge, and it fell.
And then it started making
that's how
weird
it broke.
electronic noise. I don't know how they.
And
it's sort of
the theme.
Yeah.
Also, one of my favorite scenes is in the barn. Pa is there. I'm there, and then Pa shows up, and we're like, "No, everything's fine." What? This. Scene, I have a bunch of episodes of Little House. I've watched them in every language and demand at some point or another because it's great. Japanese. It's really, a lot of Little House really great in Japanese. That scene, I happened to watch that episode in Japanese one day. Randomly, things that I do that. And Pa turns around and leaves and says, "Sayonara, Nellie," and walks out of the barn. And I'm sorry, I found this to be like the most hysterical thing in the world. So yes, it's a great scene. So now I know she has it, and this is the sadist dream come true. I have something on you now. You're dead. And I'm now, even though I don't care about the music box at all, I just know now she will feel terrible, and I can torture her with this forever and ever. And I teach Willie the song. Willie, who certainly doesn't care about the music box, and I had to teach the song because he wouldn't even know it, suddenly is walking up to Laura asking for stuff. And when she doesn't do it, goes, la, 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 la.
Oh, evil.
Song at her to taunt her.
Yes. I mean, it.
Before we get to this part, the scene before this is, so Laura has broken the music box and she's upset. And there's a scene where Pa is playing the fiddle in the house. Oh, the fiddle playing. Why? He's not even moving his fingers. No, not even moving the fingers though.
It's funny to me. Always funny to me.
This is just a technical question. Was the music being played to follow, or he was just doing something and then David Rose put it on top of whatever he was doing?
Something, on the stage. But
no, there wasn't.
It surprises me that David didn't write it like a fiddle, where you're playing always multiple strings at the same time in the fiddle.
Yeah. And you even hold it differently, yeah.
And it's the bridge is different with that. But David did it like a violin.
Michael was like,
it was bad. It was Michael was not even moving his fingers. But anyway, I thought it was also interesting because the camera angle was from the perspective of the ladder looking that into the room, and we've never seen that perspective. I don't think we've ever seen.
You hadn't seen that
ever.
That's interesting.
What the heck was that?
Yeah.
I mean, it was great, but I was like, "Whoa, this is wild." We're seeing this perspective.
The whole episode is full of weird stuff that. The whole thing is like off kilter and weird.
Then the first dream sequence happens, which I want to hear everything about filming this, but also might add, this is peak older sister energy in these scenes of her. Instead of what you would think if you are sharing a bed with your sister and she is screaming out loud, please, please, I didn't mean it, over and over again, you would hope that your sister would be concerned about you. She's not in the least concerned about her.
Staring at her coldly.
She does not care.
Pissed. She is pissed at Laura for disturbing her sleep. Okay, shoot.
So we go
first
to the and this is what, like the woman in the New York Times said, is this a sadomasochistic relationship? And tell what's going on in this episode.
You know it is what the first sentence is. So we go to the dungeon.
Picture, and I remember even as a young person shooting this, I was like, why did we suddenly go medieval times? Why is it suddenly in the 13th century and we're in a dungeon?
What is happening? The redcoats playing the drums. It's like the Revolutionary War.
Oh, yes.
And the wagon with the wagon. Because Laura Ingalls, what picture would you would have had? There's no TV. There's not even a sheriff or jail in Walnut Grove. What would be your mental image? Novels and history books. Reading about. I'm surprised she didn't do, The Prisoner and the Man in the Iron Mask or something. It would have been stories about kings and people in dungeons and old cats. This is what she had in her
afterwards
little tiny head.
She asked Pa what's jail like. Like, she's never seen a jail. She doesn't know what jail is.
So her only concept are history books or novels at the time, the Three Musketeers, it's super for the 1800s. What's your vision of the old times? It's 1300s. It's like you go all the way back. So she's in a freaking dungeon and she's in rags, eating scraps
with her hair looking blown out.
Hair.
Like it's like. Oh, it's like there's this whole sort of glamorous thing going on with Laura.
It's very 80s glam, even though we're in the 70s.
And Dippity doing Fuller's Earth, but she's a mess.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Olsen is dressed as a dungeon master.
Yes. Love that.
And he's going, and
tossing.
The food, the slop.
And then I film
it. Wow.
And it's the Renaissance Fair now. Yeah. And I come in. Yeah. I love that. I love this scene so much. I got to wear a different costume. I come in this insane Renaissance Fair,
like
somewhere
outfit,
between a court jester and a dungeon master freak outfit.
Yes.
With a giant turkey leg like you get at the Renaissance Fair, which again, I'm all about the food. I'm constantly all about the food and the food we haven't said. Yes, it was a real actual cold turkey leg, like at the Renaissance Fair, which I adored. I was like, awesome. So I'm really eating that turkey leg and I'm whacking her. I hit her with the turkey leg. And I hit her physically with the turkey leg after taunting her and then continue to eat it after I have struck her with. And I remember doing this, this is, Melissa and I were in hysterics filming this. Yeah, we were dying because we knew the whole show's gone off the rails. We're now having
it must have been so bizarre.
We knew that we were like, what is even going on while we're shooting this? And Catherine, we were reveling in getting to wear different costumes and run amok and turkey legs. We're like, that's the best day ever. And then we shot. I have to talk about the other dream. We took
go for it.
The hanging is
Go for it.
I said, this is a lovely show. And then there was a dungeon, then there was a hanging. And now she's on the cart because her mind's going to it's the French Revolution. She's on the cart being taken to life. Surprised they didn't have a guillotine. And then you said you got the right 1700s drum, the drum playing her out.
War thing is what it looked like.
Yeah. She's at the war. So she said, people were hanged during the war. Okay, so they build a gallows in the middle of Simi Valley, sort of down the road, just past the feed. So they built a freaking gallows.
Oh my God.
And she's in this car, in chains. And now I'm in, God help us all, I'm in an executioner.
With what?
With ringlets.
Well, with ringlets and a candy cane in your mouth.
Yeah, it's a candy cane.
Melissa even talked about this in an interview, and she was saying it was so Michael. It was so Michael to have the candy cane sticking out of the mask. This was a Michael Landon moment that where he went, let's have a candy cane sticking, because yes. And I remember when I did, I remember thinking, okay, so they've got the ringlet sticking out. Like, oh, wait, in case someone's not sure it's me, let's have a Like, they don't know it's real. And I was dying of laughter during this. All of us in the store were, okay, this is way gone. And Melissa was loving this. She's like, you look really great in that. And I really like the peppermint stick sticking
It's
out of the mouth. I go,
awesome.
wow, you look great with your hair down in the mouth. It was
Yeah.
bonkers. It was just bonkers. So we're having a hell of a time. And we drag up. And I have a hood, I can barely see anything, and the ringlet sticking out, and the peppermint stick, and it is the nuttiest thing anyone's ever done. And while we were doing it, we said, this is the craziest thing anyone has ever done. What are we freaking doing? And then they hang her, and then she wakes up. But I was like, we had her in a dungeon, and then we killed her. We hung her. We hung a child
Well,
in the
and
middle
then
of
the
Hand on the
judge,
hand,
the
yeah.
judge sentencing her was the
Oh,
And
the
second
that was
judge,
thing
shot.
right.
even.
Oh, yeah.
That was shot like that old Twilight Zone episode. Do you remember the Twilight Zone episode where
Yeah.
it's the judge and they used like the whole thing of the actual soundstage doors because of the height? They shot it like that. It was shot like that.
You know,
Yeah.
and I'm the little girl that watched these shows and would be like, because I hadn't read the books.
Oh,
I had just
and
watched
you're
the show.
looking, yeah.
And I was like, you know, this is all based on real life. You know, this actually happened.
This must
So
be
now
Laura,
do you
really.
see why when I picked up the books, I was like,
Okay.
wait a minute. There's no executioner scene in the books.
We
Yes.
knew this episode was genius when we were doing every
Bananas.
minute of it. We knew. Now, I have to tell you, Miss Katy Kurtzman sobbing and crying when we were torturing Katy Kurtzman. So brilliant. We've talked about this because Katy and I were on a radio show being interviewed. And I even said, how in the, but she said she was talking about how she did it and her acting process as a little girl. And she said, yes, and she's taking classes and method. And so she's working herself up to cry, to stutter, to be this person. And she said how difficult it was and her method, how she got there and how everybody had their methods. And I said, well, what? And she looked at me and she said, I don't know what the hell you were doing. I think it was demonic possession. I said, what? She said, well, my memory of it is we were standing there, they're setting up the shot, and we're having a totally normal conversation. We were talking about, because Melissa Gilbert and I would often go to the 7-Eleven on the way home. We'd ride in the same car, go to get Slurpees, and then get in our cars and go the rest of the way home. So we were talking about whether to get Slurpees or ice cream after work. And then we're inviting, of course, Katy, do you want to come with us? And we're having a totally normal conversation about Slurpees. And then they said action. And Katy said, she's like working herself up. She said, you say we're going. And, you know, it's just over on Devonshire. Oh, action. I can't hear you. She said, someone threw a switch and you became someone else. And she said, it was the scariest thing I've ever seen. And I was actually momentarily, genuinely frightened because I didn't understand how the nice person I was just talking to just went boing. She said, and then they said cut and you turned around and said, or we could go to Baskin Robbins because that's for the, and she said, she said, I don't know what the hell you were doing, but she said, you scared the crap out of me doing it.
Do you know what the hell you were doing? Or were you just already so, you knew and understood that character so wildly well that you would just be able to snap into it?
You
No
talked
problem.
about this. I remember how with the audition, she said, don't let him see you act, that Michael wanted. He wanted people to know their characters so well and be so much like their characters that if push came to shove, we could have improv the show. And you said there were times where they could have just said, oh, to heck with it, just say something. We could have made it up. But everyone was so in their character. And by year 3, I was like, yeah, I guess who she is.
You've talked about that thing where Michael said to you, just come in and do that thing you do, whatever that thing was in that moment. I mean, I think that's a huge part of casting, certainly in television. Maybe in other, you know, you could be, and on the stage, you can be a little more apart because you've got that distance. But in front of a camera with the lens,
you can't hide.
You can't hide, and you've got to be in a place where you are able to be authentic all the time. What's so interesting about your performance, Alison, because we all know you. We all know you and your humanity. And
Do you really? Maybe,
yeah, maybe we don't.
Your humanity and your fundamental goodness, and yet you had this humor about being cruel and evil, and it makes you redeemable. This was a big conversation I had with Catherine McGregor years ago, where in this area where Catherine had totally the capacity to be absolutely hateful. mean, she could really be hateful. But Catherine recognized that for her survival on the show, that she had to mind the humor. And that's when she started looking. She needed to be foolish, not cruel. And she made that very clear distinction for herself. And you saw it more and more as the series went on. I mean, in the beginning, she was pretty cold. She got much more interesting and nuanced as we went on.
Well, and a great comedic moment in this horrific episode with you is, when Nels does catch you and he wants to hit you with the strap for the first time, and you're, with your mother and she's coddling you and you're playing all innocent, and there is such a comedic flair to that, that it's so ridiculous, and yet you also see how damaged these people are and how what terrible parenting is this enabling mother is doing.
She's truly the narcissistic parent, and again, we're talking about psychology. Go find Dr. Alice Miller, Thou Shalt Not Be Aware, etc., etc. And she wrote a book, Drama, The Gifted Child. Nothing goes, Thou Shalt Aware of a Child is. And one of the things is Drama, Gifted Child. But if you have the misfortune to have a parent who is a full-on narcissistically disturbed personality, Mrs. Olsen, bad things are going to happen, and you get Nellie. Is what you get.
We need to take a quick break.
I know. I was just going to do that. I was going to do it. Okay, we have, like I said, if we could talk about this episode for 18 more hours, we would, but we're going to take a quick break, everybody. We'll be right back.
When you visit Simi Valley, California, you're stepping into the pages of history. Go from the pioneers to the presidents. Explore beautiful wildflowers, hike through iconic Hollywood locations, and end your day aboard the actual Air Force One at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Throughout the summer, take the Little House 50th Anniversary Tour at Big Sky Movie Ranch. Less than 15 minutes from Los Angeles and 30 minutes from Universal Studios, Simi Valley has small-town charm with big-time history. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more information. We are so grateful to visitsimivalley.com for their commitment to presenting the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Hi, everyone. We're back. Okay, we're talking about the peak of evil, the music box.
The music box plays. I feel like it's like the Jeopardy tune, but it's not that.
Oh, similar. That is
It
similar.
sounds like the Jeopardy tune.
Jonathan's so adorable when he does it. When he does, oh God, he's so
Yeah,
creepy. That child.
he's
And
brilliant.
it's brilliant also how this very sweet melody all of a sudden turns very creepily evil and dark. Yes.
Now, Dean, you were talking about how with Catherine, who could be very, very serious, and was so funny. And you see in the very first episode, she's like, well, that won't wear well. And she's serious. And then gradually she goes, oh, right, this woman's kind of an idiot, and starts letting her be stupid and ridiculous. I was watching, it was Christmas in Plum Creek. I randomly was watching that, and I had that coat. God, I love that coat. I had that green coat, and I'm giving Laura a hard time going, I want to buy the pony. And at that point, I was still being good, serious little actress, being terrible. And it was more subtle than my home, but still jokes in that. But I'm giving her a hard time about trying to buy this pony, and she's like, well, your paw has to say. I was like, no, it's your pony. And I'm so enraged that they won't sell me the freaking horse that I lose it. And it's still being really subtle because I was like trying to be serious with each other. But there's suddenly the moment where I turn and look and I go, you don't even have a saddle. And Nicholas grabs me and throws me in the store. Stop that! And throws me in. And I went, that's hysterical. I was deadly serious until that moment. I went, you don't even have a saddle. And I went, okay, that's where it started to turn. And that was the moment. Then after that, more of the Nellie is funny and rotten became a
Did
thing.
you think that because you added some humor to it, then it was more written in, or do you think it was written in? I wonder what came first, the chicken or the egg, right?
No, because at the audition, because there's in the famous My Home is the Best Home.
Of course, they knew there was comedy. Yeah.
And there's a piece in there of the thing about the dishes, and that's a freaking joke. That is an absolute J-O-K-E, hilarious
Yeah.
freaking piece of humor. And the fact that I got it day one, they went, you're hired.
She can do it. Got
you
it.
know, and that sort of thing. So there were jokes. It was creeping in. But then it was like, I would take it and run a little further and they'd go, oh, and then they'd write stuff. And then they go, oh, really? We're going there, are we? And then I'd go further with it. And they go, she went all the way there. Well, doing it. And it became a war of escalation.
Yeah.
Culminating in going down a hill in a wheelchair.
I think series television
Like you do.
is definitely like that. And when Alison, you have the capacity to, and they maybe put a little carrot out there and you eat the whole thing. It does fuel the whole, it does become this symbiotic thing where the writer is responding to what they're giving you something and you're taking it all and say, okay, let's go more.
Yeah, they're going, she'll
Right.
do it.
Yeah, she'll do it. She can do it. Let's give her more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I think that's
totally.
a
so
really
happy.
powerful part of the series writing experience, particularly with a character like a villain, an antagonist.
And
This is
to
really a
have
big
that
thing.
happen at that age, I knew that I was like, score, how lucky I was. Because as I said, the reason I like getting Nellie in the first place is often child actor parts were just kind of like, namby-pamby, bland little children. And I go, this isn't. And the fact that I was allowed to escalate things, and then I get the script and go, oh, I guess they noticed that thing I did a couple months ago. And because of it, I go, wow. That was happening and I was 12, 13, 14 years old.
Good for you.
Oh, that was huge.
Yeah,
I
that
was
is
very
huge.
impressed that
That
that was
is huge.
happening. I was very pleased.
Let's talk about themes in this episode that are
Yes.
important. There's so many things. I mean, peer pressure and acceptance.
Peer pressure, cruelty, and revenge. Laura trying to avenge her friend, and then it all going wrong, and manipulation, using her decency and good conscience of, I really shouldn't have taken the music box, and then using that, which was a perfectly decent impulse, against her
and she
to
bit
be
down.
more horrible.
Right. And at
So
the end,
awful.
obviously at the end of that, Pod tells her that, basically that simple message, the truth will set you free. Just
Right.
tell the
But you're
truth.
being blackmailed. You're being blackmailed.
So tell the
Give her back
truth
the
and
damn
give it
box.
and let it go. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't be blackmailed if you tell that then she has power over you because you're trying to keep a secret, which you shouldn't be keeping. And now you're painted yourself into a corner and Nellie is ruining your life. And yes, that's how
And
blackmail
loving
works.
it.
And enjoying it.
Yes, loving ruining your life. The bullying versus compassion. When you have someone who could benefit from kindness because you can see that they're struggling, and instead of doing that, you wade into that and make their life miserable. I mean, it's just
And that's what narcissistic psychopath,
there you go. Okay.
antisocial
good.
personality disorder people do. They find the weakness.
That Laura's
And they-
parents, that Ma and Pa understood. They didn't just go, well, you committed theft and you lied, and lying and stealing are bad, and beat the heck out of her. They said, okay, we get it. We get why you did it. We get the
Right.
whole thing with Anna and the dictionary. Okay, God, oops, we get why you did this. This is a perfect storm, but you can't do that, and we will help you go back and fix this. And that they realize what had happened. We will help you. We'll help you. Now, the big question many people say, do we? It's the great controversy because we've never seen it. Did Nels ever actually hit Nellie? Because this is one of the episodes where he says, "That's it," and gets the belt off the wall.
You
I
don't
do not
think
think
in
so
the
either.
end? Wait,
You
what?
think so? You think he's-
You think that last shot of her running up him being mad at her running up the stairs, and him taking the strap
off the wall.
up the stairs to follow her? You think he doesn't actually?
cut to the outside and hear Nellie screaming and snap, snap, snap?
Oh, I
Nope.
totally 1000% thought that he was
No.
like it was the
Wailing on
one
her.
time he was actually
He did
going to
not,
do it.
because
And listen, I am not a proponent of hitting children.
Right.
Right.
I don't even like spanking. But in that
that's
moment,
why-
I was like, beat her.
No, we never showed it. And there are many terrible people on the internet who said things like, "Oh, you should have showed him beading the children." Like, no.
No.
So, Alison,
no.
do you think that?
You
do
never-
you think there was?
So
do
you
you think
think
there
he
was a
didn't do it?
strapping here?
100% believe that they got up there and he said, this is, Nellie, this is the last time. I cannot believe it. You're going to have to be punished.
Right,
I have the
right,
strap.
right.
And that she pulled a huge scene, lots of tears and crying. Oh, Pa, I swear. And that he sat down, said, I'm not the kind, I mean, come on, Nels isn't the kind of guy who's going to
I
hit someone. He's really going to try
know.
not to. That he's cracked and didn't hit her, but said, this is the last time.
Yeah,
And okay, you're a
right,
grounded
right.
young lady and I'm taking all your candy
Which
away.
allows you to
And
continue being,
I'm not going to beat you
yeah.
because I'm not that kind of guy, but you're terrible and you must stop.
You think that?
I said,
You
Mama,
think
I
that
swear,
too, Dean?
So which?
I believe.
Which?
You think that he didn't actually go ahead?
Well, I
and,
think
and hit her with the strap?
it's just, I remember one time being spanked with a hairbrush. I remember pants pulled down. I was young.
Aw,
Pants
must
pulled
have been
down,
bad.
spanked with a hairbrush. That
Ouch.
event changed my life.
You went,
And I am never doing anything that would take me to that humiliation ever again. I sort of have this feeling that if Nels had spanked you with the strap, that could have been
she would
a
have
very turning moment in your life. Now, that wouldn't have been good for the
And
life
as
of
we
the
saw,
series.
No.
You eventually turned,
clearly,
but not
I
then.
did it again.
It
Right,
wouldn't
that's
have
the thing.
changed her
Because
if
I
she
went
was a
out the next
natural
week and did it again.
psychopath.
Exactly.
If he had actually beat me,
Exactly.
wouldn't there have been some delay, at least until the next time I did something terrible? Wouldn't I not have also then gone to my mother and complained bitterly? And because he knew that if he really did, one, I would throw a huge fit. Two, Mrs. Olds would never let him hear the end of it. I cannot believe he hit
True.
her. It would be the end of the world. She would carry on. He would have to pay so much for it if he had even hit me once.
There is that.
And then also
Yeah.
Nels was a decent, kind man who went, I don't want to hit you.
No.
And Nellie, of course, would cry, make it say, he didn't hit her. He didn't hit her. He
There
caved.
is that wonderful moment in the episode, and I hope I'm not confusing it with it, but there is that wonderful moment where Nels stands up and his shoulders go back, and he's told Harriet,
Yes.
he's really let her have it after this whining, this whining that you've done, that he's not putting up with that anymore. So maybe there was a spanking, but it didn't cure you.
No.
It didn't stop you.
I think I got a lecture, and I think he took away my candy, and I think I was grounded, and I think he never laid a hand on me. I wouldn't be surprised if there were times where Nels said, okay, but if your mother asks, I totally hit you. Okay, fine. I swear he never freaking hit her.
I am not a proponent of child abuse, not even a proponent of spanking, but I will say when he picked up that strap, I was very pro-strap at that moment.
People cheered. They were hoping.
You certainly deserved it.
Yeah. Deserved
it. That's why they had to find a way to punish me, because the parents were not going to. Hence, rivers, eggs overhead, flour, downhills in wheelchairs, mud. This was how my comeuppance came.
No, the things that did happen to you were the things that redeemed you. I mean, they were able to say, and there was that with Bunny, there's that blubbering moment where you stand up and you're crying and your mother falls out of the wagon. There is remorse in that moment.
In camp, I get nice for about this long camp out because I almost drowned. Laura saves me, and I go, I've been horrible, and I'm miserable, and I don't have any friends. And then I'm like, oh, my mother's here, and I'm like back on it.
But is there a moment of remorse? I'm sorry, and I watched this thing last night. Is there a moment of remorse?
In camp out,
no,
in
this
cracked,
episode,
and
is there a moment
in this
of remorse?
one, no, in this one, I'm not.
Well,
sorry,
we never see the after. No, we just see her running up the stairs.
I'm mad I got caught. I am mad that I got caught. It's the only thing that happens in this one. Yes.
Let's see.
Antisocial personality disorder. I'm diagnosing it officially today.
I'm going with
Yeah. She's a narcissistic psychopath. Yeah. Antisocial personality disorder.
With a giant turkey leg.
Doc Baker didn't do that. I did that. There we go.
The music box. Because we are racing for the end here. The music box remains a standout episode in Little House for its exploration of childhood challenges and moral dilemmas. It delivers powerful lessons about honesty, the dangers of peer pressure, and the strength found in compassion. This episode is a prime example of how Little House on the Prairie combined entertainment with meaningful life lessons. And they continue
and the moral
to
of the
resonate.
story.
Yes, the moral is?
And the ultimate moral of the story is, do not give a dictionary to your child for their birthday present. Parents, think twice. Think again.
She knows she needs it.
It's totally fine. You're in the club. It's totally fine. Say no.
Just say no. Say no to the practical book that they might use one day.
Say no to dictionary.
That started it all.
No.
That's right. The real villains are Ma and Pa for gifting that.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. She'll appreciate it later.
Anyway.
All right, take us to the exit, Pamela.
Okay, everybody. We are still processing the music box right now, and we will be processing it. But thank you for joining us so much. We want to hear all of your thoughts about this episode as well. So please give it to us. Give it to us. Check us out on littlehouse50podcast.com or our socials, Little House 50 Podcast. And we'll see you next time. Bob, get the wig. Let's fly, everybody. Let's fly with a giant strap that we might or might not use.
Each Schrodinger spank it.